Welcome, everyone. I'm Colleen Benelli. Robin will be here shortly, and Danny is here with us, and a whole bunch of others. Today is our monthly Q&A, which is where we talk about Reiki, the questions people have, answers people have, comments, etc. So we just have good conversations about Reiki. So, I think what I'm going to do is just get started. I recently did a summit with Christian on Reiki business techniques. And, as I was starting my presentation, I realized that before I do anything with Reiki, I go in and I activate Reiki. So right now, I can tell even by my voice that I need to activate Reiki. It switches. And also because we're starting the Q&A right now, if I am answering the questions or talking about Reiki, it's really just going to be coming from me. So one of the ways that I do that when I activate Reiki, sometimes I need to do it quickly and it's on the fly, like just a quick either gasho or hands on my lap, take some deep breaths. Simply receive and let Reiki drop in, inviting it in through my breath, flowing through my body. And I'm aware of the Reiki energy in the space around me, above me, below me, and now flowing within me. So in my recommendation today, in this Q&A, is when you are feeling very busy or you have discussions to have, priority of thinking, clarity of thought, just take that moment, because if you even listen to my voice now, it's that much different. I can feel the difference of the Reiki energy flowing through my body. And actually now it's also coming out through my voice. I can also tell that I'm not completely there as deep as I can be. So what that would indicate to me in this moment is, of course, that I want to go deeper with it. And we do that in the Q&A. We always go into a deep invocation or Reiki journey. We have been working with the Eagle Vision and Mouse Vision journey this whole month in our distance Reiki share. And so I would imagine the invocation today will include that, and as well as we will have just completed the winter solstice when this airs on our podcast. But the people who are here live, we still have that coming this week. The journeys and invocations are always channeled, even though I do have kind of a formula of how that works, which is inviting the Reiki energies, traveling in on my breath, letting go of the things that are in my way, whether that is something just like today, there's a busyness, a distraction, there's different things I need to be thinking about and multiple things to think about at once. So I'm feeling a little bit scrambled. So whatever reason that you have that you need to activate Reiki for the time that you have to do it, just take that time, take some deep breaths, move into letting that energy bring you into center. Another thing that I do as I stop and think about all the places where I have expended my energy since the last time I brought it in. So that was yesterday in the distance Reiki share. And from that time till this, I can feel like my energy is scattered over here, it's out there, I've been thinking this way, all the different things. And so there's another thought that I have of bringing that energy in. So I'm talking about it even as I'm speaking of it right now. I'm intending that that's happening. So it doesn't always require us to be only focused on that happening. I can intend that all my energy is coming back in through me. It's actually coming in through this field of Reiki light that I just said is around me, intended that it's around me, and bringing all my energy in right here, letting go of all the things to think about later, the things I had to think about this morning or yesterday or tonight, and bring myself right here. And then there are the times that I'm going to be in all the different places to think about because I actually like that state of mind too. So I do happen to like to be in multiple places that I'm thinking about. But in this moment, step one for this day podcast for our community gathering here for this, our Reiki lifestyle Q&A. I really do want to bring my attention in and be focused. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I think that's where the Reiki guided journey will go. If any of you are not able to listen and go deep with it, be sure you listen later or let the energy wash over you, because sometimes when I can feel it like this, where it's this deep, and I think we as a community can use the depth in this moment if we're going to take the time to be present with it, let's just go ahead and go all in. And so I can tell that it's going to be deep. So if you're not in a position for that, listen to it later when you do have time. Sometimes, though, like for me, I can listen to things that take me deep and let it just wash over and still do everything else I'm doing. So, like, I can listen to things and walk or do my daily tasks or things or even drive. But you need that discernment to notice where you are. And the other thing that I can tell is if I start dropping in too far into that deep Reiki relaxation, then I know, okay, wait, I need to come back to that. So use your discernment with that. We're going to go into that in a minute. So I was, see, I get distracted already. I was talking about kind of even though it's channeled, the way the journeys go is we are going to activate Reiki by bringing it in on our breath, activate our heightened perceptions to the spiritual realm, spiritual beings, your spiritual team that you work with, your guides, your beloved and sacred ones, bringing your awareness to their presence. They're always present. It's our awareness of their presence that Reiki helps us access that higher thought. Then in the journey, we will do some method of letting Reiki come in and lift away those ways and worries of the world. Perhaps they're really deep, or perhaps they're just surface, excess, busyness stuff, and letting those go. Always remembering Reiki heals what you release. It doesn't just cast it out. It doesn't leave it in the room. It doesn't throw it somewhere. Whatever you let go of, Reiki, because it is guided by the power and authority of love and compassion, it takes whatever you let go of, takes it into that Reiki light and heals it, as well as healing you. in any of the places where those ways and worries might have been corded into you. Maybe there are attachments. Sometimes there are old oaths or vows or promises that you've made. Reiki will just come in and release it. Sometimes you do want to know the details about it, and other times you just need the energy to release. So most of the time in a journey like this, it's going to be the more generalized, just letting go of that stuff. And then if you need to investigate it further, the energy will guide you to that investigation. So then after there is the release, the Reiki energy is going to come back in, heal the places wherever those burdens were that you were carrying. And then it is going to bring in the extra energy, fill you up with life force, fill you up with vitality, and awaken your higher thought, your higher consciousness, and bring you into your perception of your wholeness, to be able to access your higher thought, or maybe even just that moment of clarity of your to-do list. Because right now, many of us have long to-do lists, and it can even help sort things like on a very practical level, because that's the next thing that Reiki really does, is it helps us access the practicalities as well as the dreams, as well as the goals, as well as the manifestations in our daily life. So, knowing that when I do a guided Reiki journey, it's going to have those three qualities in it always. Bringing the energy in first, increasing your perceptions, heightening your senses, your inner awareness of the greater reality that exists within you and around you. Then, when you are full, letting that light come in and just release from you those things you need to let go of, you want to let go of, and then also coming back in and really filling you back up, increasing your perceptions again, but also really revealing your gifts, your talents, your inner knowing, your inner authority, your inner truth. And the bottom line is so you can hear you in all of your daily life, wherever you are in your daily life. So that's really the kind of formula. And then it's all channeled, and because I don't know what that's going to be in a case like today, I'm listening with you. I'm also receiving with you. So this is as much for me as it is for all of us. And also for our community, we have many people who have joined us here live today that we are going to talk about our questions and answers after that. But before I do any of it, I do want to make some quick announcements. So this will get posted on Monday. I don't know the date. I have to look at my calendar. Must be like the 22nd. So, oh, the 24th, 23rd, the 24th, we typically have our distance Reiki share. That is Christmas Eve day, so we are going to be taking that day off. Robin and I and Danny and Teresa and everybody. And then also, we will be back for the distance Reiki share on December 31st. So New Year's Eve day, we will have the distance Reiki share. Then the next announcement is that we will be doing a burning bowl ceremony sometime in January. Our newsletter is going to go out with with that information. If you want to have your own burning bowl ceremony, say on New Year's Eve, it's a great little ceremony to do even for yourself, or if you're having a gathering, you can do it for that. And that'll be in the newsletter. It's also already on our website, ReikiLifestyle.com, and our articles page, the blog page. And then we have Next Step Reiki training, our year-long Reiki courses starting in January, and Explore the 12 Heavens and Meet Your Spirit Guides. That is also a year-long class. That registration is open and it closes on January 13th because we start in January and the classes go through December. And then we have Reiki, Animal Reiki, 1 and 2 Master, and all the other Reiki level classes at the end of January and February. And then just one more. William Rand and I are teaching a 7-day Karuna Reiki class in Hawaii, in Hana. And it is a fabulous class. We spend lots of time at waterfalls and beaches and learning Karuna Reiki and receiving Karuna Reiki with each other and everything. So, all right. I think that's everything I can think of. Okay. We have a question here. I want to answer it before we go into the invocation. Is the release recommended to be an intention? I would say it can be and it doesn't have to be. A lot of times when I am letting Reiki just fill my breath and doing the releasing for me, I don't always have a specific knowing of what I want released. And so I do know that it will come in and scan, kind of look within me because it's conscious. So my spirit and my soul and my inner knowing also dialogues with Reiki as I'm receiving it, sometimes outside of my conscious awareness. And I may not know exactly what needs to be released or what I want to have released. On the other hand, if you do know, absolutely set an intention. Absolutely, let the Reiki energy come in, set that intention of releasing those cords, connectors, and any attachments or anything else, and let it do that for you. I think that's one of the interesting things that I did not realize about Reiki before I received it, and actually took me a long time to understand about it, that it does so much of this for us without us directing it, because it is conscious and it is engaging with us in multidimensional levels of us. It's also our authentic self engaging with, knowing internally, this needs to be released. So the Reiki energy really never needs a lot of direction, but also I do love intention and I do set intentions, and I also don't. The other thing that I will point out with the way I perceive, and this doesn't mean everybody has to perceive it this way, because it will work for you your way. The way I perceive Reiki energy releasing cords and connectors, it's not really a cord cutting, it's actually a cord dissolving. And it's a very gentle process. And so it releases, although sometimes, we'll use the term cord cutting, but it's actually, to me, I watch it come in and it's really more like, even dissolving isn't actually it. I've been trying to think about the word that would most describe it because it's, I don't necessarily have all the words. I would say that it kind of transforms it or absorbs it into the light. And then I observe Reiki releasing whatever it is from me, because I perceive it. I'll use the word layer, like it's a layer that's hiding me from me. My truth is on the inside, and the layer is hiding it from me. And so I perceive Reiki coming in, and this is metaphorical maybe, coming in, just dissolving those cords, lifting those layers, carrying them into the light, letting go of the burden of healing them from me, letting go of the burden of even having to engage with what I'm releasing, and let Reiki energy and that higher consciousness actually go in and heal whatever it is that I've let go of. But also, there may be things that you know right now, I need to let go of this. Definitely use this time for that. We do this truly every week at our distance Reiki share with that intention, that it is a time that we can utilize the Reiki energy, and we do these invocations journeys, both for empowerment, but also for healing those things that we carry around. And sometimes they go really deep, sometimes they're very surface. And so it just depends on where you're at. And also, the next thing that I would say is always remember that however you are asking Reiki to engage with you is your way. And it will engage with you in the way that you personally need it to engage with you. We are recording our podcast with Justin Stein again tomorrow, and so I'm going back through his book, Alternate Currents, and it's Mrs. Takata's history, and it's so in depth. I mean, it's an amazing book. It's almost like every single sentence has more information that I want to try to retain. But most of all, what I would say is how interesting it is that Mrs. Takata absolutely evolved Reiki systems according to the need of the people. The people she trained used Reiki according to the needs of their communities. And that has always been the way Reiki has worked. We can look at the absolute history of Reiki before Usui Sensei, because Reiki is the energy. What Usui Sensei did was created a system that we work with to be able to connect with the Reiki energy, be able to receive it, and also share it. So we can see, when you really deep dive into the history, Reiki has always worked with each person individually, and then also many of us collectively, to assist everybody the way you need it. And so always know that you get to have your way, your answers, your truth, and it's going to take you deeper into that for you. So you can ask the same question of many different Reiki people and get a lot of different answers. And that's because Reiki works for each of us individually and uniquely. And so anytime you are inviting it to work with you a specific way, always know you can do that. The main thing with Reiki is that we hold our integrity with it, we're appropriate with it, and beyond that, it really is truly available to us uniquely. Okay. So now that I'm still talking, let's go ahead and go into that invocation. journey, and we'll see where it leads. So for those of you that are here live, go ahead and get comfortable. For those of you listening later, get comfortable. If you are busy doing something that you need to listen to this later, fast forward into the Q&A part. All right, I'm going to turn my video off too, and I'll go ahead and get started. And so the first thing that I would like any of you to do is to notice your energy right now. And then after the invocation, notice your energy then. Go ahead and close your eyes and take some deep breaths. Place your hands comfortably on your body. Open your heart and receive. As you breathe in the light of Reiki. It fills your breath and flows through your body, awakening your life force, your light force, awakening your vitality and your vibrancy, clarity of mind, body, spirit. Breathe deeply now. As you breathe in the light and the power of love. As the light and the power of love travels in on your breath, flows into your body, and reveals the power of love at the core of your being. This is the source of creation, the source of you. By so many different names that it's called, the power of love is revealed within you. The power of love fills the space around you, above you, below you. And Reiki energy fills the space with the divine mind and pure heart, filling your breath. And as you breathe in the light and the power of the divine mind. And the divine mind from the source of creation, from the source of pure consciousness, fills your breath and awakens your divine mind, revealing pure consciousness at the core of your being, awakening your higher thought, your higher consciousness, your divine mind and your human mind unified in this moment. Breathing in the divine mind as it awakens your authentic intuition, imagination, instincts, your inner knowing, your inner truth, awakening your inner authority. And as you breathe in the light of the divine mind, it awakens and reveals your gut brain, your heart brain, your head brain, aligning it throughout your body, that all parts of you, your whole body thinking, your whole body listening, is awake and available to you. As you breathe in the light and the power of the divine heart. From the source of creation, in the moment when love and light and consciousness became self-aware as you, your spirit, unique in creation, right here in the divine heart. It fills your breath, flows through your body, and reveals and awakens your divine heart, your inner knowing of your spirit, your soul, your human nature, your human spirit, all one in your breath right now, your divine presence. And as you see your own divine presence, you see it in everything else around you. It's in everything here on the earth and within you. And as you see the divine presence in everything around you, you can see it in yourself. And the light of the earth rises through you, divine creation of the earth. And you remember that your body is made of the earth. And the divine light of the heavens flows through you. And the light of the earth and the light of the heavens are unified right here within you. In truth, you have always been unified, always been whole, and your spirit ignites within you. And you remember, in truth, you are an extraordinary being of the light, living in your life at this time, in your soul's journey, on your soul's path, in your soul's history. That you are here with human consciousness, spiritual consciousness, living on this earth of duality, living on this earth where heaven is on earth, and sometimes challenged in that awareness and truth. And so you breathe in the light, and the light fills your breath so you can remember who you truly are while you are here in your daily life. And you breathe in the light of the tree of life, and your body is filled with your roots growing deeply around you, stable and strong, nourished by the earth, receiving of the minerals of the earth, the colors of the earth, the waters and the nourishment of the earth. When you listen, you can hear the heartbeat of the earth beating in the same rhythm as your own heart. And like the tree of life, your branches reach to the heaven in a perfect balance. And you receive the nourishment of creation, the nourishment of the heavens, and the wisdom and the knowledge of the infinite realms of pure love, pure consciousness, pure heart. And it's all right here within your spirit, right here within your body within your spirit within your body. You are here at this time in your soul's history. And so, like the tree of life, the gentle breeze of the four winds flows through your branches, flows through your center, and you receive the ancient knowledge and wisdom of the people, of the animals, the trees, the wisdom and the knowledge of the ancients, of the stones and the waters and the plants, the earth itself, the wisdom of the moon and of the solar system. And divine compassion fills your branches, fills your breath, flowing through you, stable, strong, and filled with the light of gratitude. And now your perceptions expand to the beautiful beings of the light who are all around you. The enlightened ones of your heart, those that you have known in this lifetime and other lifetimes, those who you may have even known in the lifetimes between the lifetimes, that share the journey of your soul with you. And they are here in spiritual form, in their spiritual nature, to help you remember who you are, to help you navigate through this world called the earth. And so we welcome them for you, with you, those beautiful beings of the light, your sacred and beloved ones, your spiritual teams. And we welcome those who are here with all of us that help us with creating this beautiful community from all around the world. Those beautiful beings of the light, the divine animal kingdom, the spirit of the earth, the angels and the archangels and the ascended masters, our brothers and sisters in the light. Those beautiful beings of the light, known and unknown, seen and unseen, from the enlightened realms of creation, the enlightened realms of the earth. So breathe deeply now, as take this time to observe you here amongst the gathering of the enlightened ones. And notice that your light is beautiful like theirs. You are here in your human nature at this time in your soul's journey. They are in their nature at this time in their soul's journey, as is everything here. In the reality of the physical realm, the reality of the non-physical realms. And so you take this time now and go within and listen. Perhaps you have been observing your pathway from the viewpoint of the eagle vision, way up above you, seeing your path in front, behind, on each side right now. Perhaps you have been seeing your pathway from the viewpoint of mouse vision, seeing your path all around you, in front of you, behind you, and in this moment, with what is immediate. What are the details? Sometimes you may be perceiving your path from your own vision. So just take this moment right now and go within as we enter the time of the solstice, the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, the summer solstice in the southern. Wherever you are, go within and listen. Access your vision. And now, with this knowing, take a moment and listen for what is it that would most benefit you right now. Now, with that knowing, imagine a beautiful bridge of light in front of you. And you decide that you're going to cross over the bridge and go to the other side, to the enlightened realm of the third heaven, where all there is love. The beautiful ones of your heart are here with you, inviting you to cross, and there's a celebration here for you. And so you step onto the bridge, and as you step onto the bridge, the colors of the earth and the colors of creation fill the vitality of color within you. So your whole body is awake and available to you for listening and thinking, walking through the red, your human knowledge, human guidance, walking through the orange, each of your chakras filling with the colors, strong, vital, stable, clear. And you continue across the bridge through the yellow and the green. And you see the river flowing beneath you, the river of peace. The light shining on the waters from high in the heaven, on you, and sparkling light off of the waters fills your sparkling light, the effervescence of you within you. Joy, gratitude, love, happiness. And you walk through the green and the blue, filling your voice, your truth, your inner knowing, your inner authority, awake and present and available to you. Clarity of your mind, your heart, your gut. Continuing to walk across through the indigo, your higher thought, higher mind, and walking through the violet, your spirit present for you. And you step to the other side of the bridge and find yourself in the place where all there is love. You've been here before, and so you know that you'd like to follow the pathway to the river of peace. And so you walk along the path. All the beautiful beings of the light are here. The light from the heavens is shining on everything. And as you breathe in the peace and the harmony from the earth and from the heavens, right here in this enlightened realm, that in truth is also right here inside you, on the earth around you, and in the beyond. And all three are happening at once. And so you walk to the river's edge, and you know this is a place where you can release and let go of those things that create layers that hide you from you. And so you take this time and you breathe in the light of Reiki, and you can hear the song of the river. Divine animal kingdom is here, and all the trees of life. The songs of the angels, the water dwellers are here. It's so very beautiful. And so you allow yourself to just open your heart and receive as that light travels in on your breath. And it's letting you let go and release those ways and worries of the world that create those layers that hide you from your view. Dissolving the cords and connectors and attachments. carrying them into the light, where they too can be healed. They don't belong to you, even if they feel as if they belong to you. It is your divine right to be whole and happy and thriving. So those burdens that you carry, those burdens that seem as if they're corded or attached from this life or other lives or ancestral histories or any time for any reason in your soul's history, those things that are in the way of what you need today, you just simply breathe in the light of Reiki, and through the authority and power of love, the grace of compassion, it's all released from you, carried into the light. And as you breathe in the light and the power of love. And you breathe in the divine mind and pure heart and the light of the earth and the light of the heavens. And your spirit ignites again, revealing in truth your wholeness, your sovereignty, your glory, right here, waking up, revealed and present. And so you breathe deeply now and receive as your life force and your vitality fills up with your inner truth, your inner authority, your wholeness, your light. And so you cup your hands into the river of peace, and the water is crystal clear and pure, the primordial waters of creation. And you take a long drink, and the life force of peace flows into your body, awakening your inner peace, your inner harmony. And you know now that you'd like to go to the field of possibilities again, to come back here and to revisit your path from the view of the eagle, your path from the point of view of the mouse. So you follow along the pathway of the riverbanks until you come to the path leading you to the field of possibilities. And you know that at this time, you are still just taking some time to be inward. The busyness of life is busy. And so it's okay that the field of possibilities is a place of rest, a place of rejuvenating, knowing that you can perceive and move forward at any time. So you walk into the field, and it's beautiful here. And you just sit down and take some time as the beautiful beings of the light that are here. And you just begin to close your eyes and receive. And you remember now that you have planted the seed of your intentions, and that the seeds are being nourished and cared for. And as you lie here in the field of possibilities, with your whole body awake, You just take this time to be. The light shines directly on you from the highest heaven, and you receive. Expanding your perceptions now, knowing you can view your path from eagle vision, knowing you can view your path from mouse vision. You just take this time to be right here, now, today. And here in the field of possibilities, you just simply allow yourself to receive. And you bring your awareness back as you begin now walking along the riverbanks to the bridge of light, and know that there is an inner knowing within you. The seeds of your intentions for your path forward are here. They are planted within. They are shined upon and nourished. And you can just let all the rest go and focus on what it is that you need to focus on right now. And so you continue to walk across the bridge of light and walking through the colors as they grow even stronger, your inner knowing awake from your spiritual perspective as you awaken and walk through all the colors, the violet and indigo, walking through the blue of your truth, the green of your heart, expressing through the yellow, creating in the orange, bringing in today in the practicalities of your life, your divine guidance, inner guidance, and human guidance, all aligned. The field of possibilities awake. And you bring yourself back to right now. And you go within. And you ask yourself from your question about what you need now, what is your next step today? Now we invite these beautiful beings of the light to always continue to be here, even if we forget to ask. We invite the Reiki energy to always be here, even if we forget to ask. And now you invite insight, clarity of mind, clarity of being, your inner truth and your inner authority revealed. So look inside and say thank you to you for listening to you, following your inner calling to discover your inner knowing, your inner truth. We say thank you to each other. We're so very blessed by our divinely ordered circle, all who are here live and those who listen later. Thank you. Extraordinary community. People who care deeply about sharing love in the world. We say thank you to the Reiki energies, the spiritual beings, the 12 heavens. Thank you to the teachers who came before us, descendants who come after. Look inside, say thank you as the vision from above, below, and within is available to you now. Thank you, and so it is. Well, and because we keep the recording going on this, I'm going to go ahead and come back quickly. Thank you, everyone. And again, Robin, hi.
Hello, everybody.
Well, I think I did all of the introductions already, announcements and everything. So I guess where we will start is who has some questions, and we'll go ahead and start there. Kaz, did you want to ask your question again?
Yeah, sure. Always. Any information that anybody has about shamanic Wicca. Because it's out there, but like, how do you put it in the jar and mix it?
Well, and I will be honest, I don't know. First of all, I don't have experience with Wicca other than, a lot of my friends and colleagues that also combine Reiki and Wicca. And so what I think I know about the practices and, some really beautiful people and amazing practitioners. I am very skilled in shamanism. I think the biggest thing to understand is shamanism is a very broad term. And so it often gets combined with, that term gets combined with other energy medicines, energy healing techniques like Reiki, for instance. And really, what all of them are to me, this is what just my perception of them, is that they are all different methods and practices of engaging with energy by different names. So, um, in shamanism, we're more aware of the practices of indigenous people around the world. I think Wicca could also be considered practices of indigenous people around the world. Reiki is practices of indigenous people around the world. And even though commonly we will see many of the traditions come from particular locations or cultures or countries or different peoples. To me, they are all accessing, and I want to be careful by calling them spiritual realms because it can be defined differently than that too. So, oh, yeah, I think of it as different practices of accessing energy, spiritual realms, consciousness, abilities, human intellect, and working with different ways of developing techniques for different purposes. One of the things that I know that can be different, and I have some unique perspectives of Reiki and shamanism, for instance, because I'm skilled in both, is Reiki has some very unique properties and qualities of the way the energy works that I perceive as having its own unique form. Wicca has its own unique form, its own unique practices, and shamanism, because it's practiced by people around the world in various ways. You know, if you are practicing Celtic shamanism, there are going to be different practices than if you are practicing Lakota shamanism. There's different techniques if you're practicing Peruvian shamanism. So, all different ways of accessing spiritual realms. We know now that many people are, accessing higher levels of consciousness in galactic realms, for instance. So it's, to me, there's the non-physical. And of course, these practices are the ways that people practiced for healing because it was the main method of healing throughout humanity. It's the main way that things were done, and now, of course, we have what we think of as Western and Eastern medicines and additional practices. I think the one thing I would say with Wicca is it's often confused or called witchcraft. And of course, those of us that know we are working in the healing arts know that witchcraft is, the people that were burned as witches were the people who were the healers of those days, or the wise people of those days. Perhaps they were the midwives or the herbalists of those days. And so there's a lot of confusion about it and a lot of misunderstandings about it. All the people I know who practice shamanism and Wicca are filled with integrity, practicing in good ways for the benefit of people. Um, for myself, through all the different practices I have studied, um, I really like the way the energy, the Reiki energy and the Reiki techniques do the work, which is why I landed on this particular modality, this style of energy healing and empowerment. So I think what you'll find, because you are spiritually curious, is that you can investigate all different ones, and then you'll find the ones that resonate with you the most.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Robin, I
Yeah.
see that you unmuted, so let's see what she has to say about it.
I don't have a lot to say about it in general. I could just see how they would go very well together. And just some few ancillary people in the community that I know practice both. I think that like their practice is pretty beautiful. And I could especially see how the connection to the earth medicine, the plants and the herbology and that part of both Wicca and shamanism would lend really well to each other. I also the people that I was saying that are kind of, I've met, but I wouldn't say I'm like friends with, but on social media, they're also Reiki people. And so they kind of combine all of the different modalities with it. As with anything, I think one of the things that Colleen and I always recommend is just really looking into anybody that you might be learning from and what is their skill set, what is their experience, because you definitely we know lots of people that, and I would say this about any modality as far as like the ethics and things like that are concerned, that would be just the biggest thing when you're looking into people is research who you might be curious in taking a class from, or a workshop from, or things like that, and that's too is where your experience within Reiki, your experience within the different communities that you might be a part of are going to lend to. It helps you to discern those things. It helps you to discern, who is somebody that is skilled, who is, those ethical aspects of it, things like that. That's where those other tools that you have can help you within that as well. So that's all I wanted to add to it.
Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Colleen.
You're welcome.
So I just gotta keep reading.
Investigate.
Keep reading.
I want to add one thing to what Robin just said, actually, that, here's what I did because also being spiritually curious, um, trying to discern, all the different things I'm interested in and which teachers feel comfortable to me, which communities feel comfortable to me. And so I'm going to go back to the kind of foundational discernment process that I've gone through in all of these years of discernment about who I study with or who I engage with on a spiritual level. And it goes all the way back to Neil Donald Walsh in the 1990s when I read Conversations with God. And he talked about all thoughts led to two places. One was fear and one is love. And so if you listen, you can hear where someone's thoughts come from, where a teaching leads you. And that has always been my basis. Is it leading me to fear? Is it leading me to love? And not that there can't be a mix of both, because you still have to have discernment, and there are things in both. But what is the overall essence of the teaching? So for me at the time, I always thought in terms of the teaching of, anything not of love is not of God. God, it started with God is love. Anything not of love is not of God. And so that then it's human made or earth made. And so that has always been, I go into that whole body listening that we just did, and I go into it for um, that love and fear. And also for me, I had the other two discernment pieces was I didn't want it to be the one right way, and I also didn't want it to have judgment. What I also know now is I want it to teach me how to get to my inner authority, my inner truth, rather than an outside authority telling me what my inner truth was or is. And so all of those pieces, when I'm listening for communities, when I'm engaged in the different traditions, and again, there's going to be a mix, but in the overall essence of the teaching, the overall essence of the feel of it all. I'm looking for the ones that promote and teach love.
That was like right on, because something was coming in. Something was coming in, so I'll catch up to that later. But thank you. No, you're right with the love and the fear.
Yeah.
It's like a number one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it kind of gives me chills because I remember, back in the 1990s, that's when so many of these, new spiritual thoughts were being taught. And, I was just hungry for everything, which is what led me into shamanism and why I was particularly attracted to the teacher that I was working with, Jan Inglesmith with Lightsong School of Shamanic Studies, because the number one thing was it was always about how did I get to my truth, my authority? What were my answers? And so that was the first thing. And then the same thing with Reiki, because to be honest, not that it was my teacher with Reiki at the time, but the system of Reiki in the 2000s was a very strict version of Reiki. And that's why I'm so fascinated reading this book by Justin Stein, The Alternate Currents, because really finding out about the truth of Mrs. Takata, I mean, what an amazing woman and human being, and the person who came along to promote Reiki, and really understanding the love that she brought into the traditions. But in 2000, what I had learned about her teachings, now knowing those weren't even all her teachings, but Reiki was super strict. And a lot of it didn't make sense to me. And then that's when, in 2003, that's when I studied with William Rand, and he was another one who really teaches inner truth, inner authority. And that's why what really led me to be drawn to both Reiki and shamanism, and then really loving the way the Reiki energy does the work. But that was the foundation of my decision making, was all the way back to that book. And there's a lot of takeaways. It'd be interesting to read that book now, because at the time, Conversations with God and some of the stuff he said in it were pretty controversial. It was like, what? I mean, it really challenged a lot of my belief systems. So I didn't decide to believe it all. I just knew that one piece was the takeaway through all of it, was how did I access the discernment with my spiritual curiosity to determine the pathways that I was going to go, and which teachers resonated with me, which modalities resonated with me. And I'll be honest with you, the part of Wicca, one of the reasons I never studied it, I'm just being fully transparent here. I think I've done so many lifetimes of it and dealt with the the punishment over those lifetimes, that this lifetime I was like, could I pick something that's I'm not going to get, persecuted for and burned for and all of those things. So I know many people in this community will know what I'm talking about, because we have those past life memories. So in this lifetime, I was really glad to find the pathways that I did. And that is not at all to say anything. I think the practice of Wicca is beautiful. I just was like, could I just go this way?
Yeah,
So
take a
I
different
just
road.
go that way.
But yeah, I mean, like, they say all roads lead to Rome,
Yeah.
Um, but when I was in Rome, I didn't find that. But, essentially, you're so right. And plus, Reiki is constantly teaching me something, and I'm like, come on, now that, you
Well,
know,
that's the good part.
of course, you know, I mean, and then I'm like, I retired for that, to okay, yeah, why not? You know,
Yeah.
these are all the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to learn and do, while I was working, while I was in school, and like I'll never forget this one time I was doing some class. Oh, I had to write a technical paper. Okay, what did I write it on? What's my other big, big subject? Bigfoot. He said, "Get rid of this."
Oh, I love it, Cass.
I said, "It's technical." Yeah, but I ain't looking for that kind of
Nature
technical.
spirits.
You know. So I mean, then it was like, you know what? There's got to be something better than this class. you
I
know.
love it. Well, hey, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question.
Thank you so much,
You are
Colleen,
so
Robin.
welcome.
Thank you.
And for all of those who are Sasquatch, Bigfoot, just a shift in time. So anyway, let's go to Wanda.
Good morning.
Hi.
I haven't really figured out how to state this, so I hope it's making sense.
Okay.
I'm a Karuna master,
Mhm.
so I have all of the symbols, and almost all of mine, I really don't work on having a practice. I work on myself, my spiritual self, and animals. And my question is, when I'm using the symbols, I tend to invoke every one of them. But if I am working on, say, something around an animal where they've been abused or mistreated or betrayed, would the symbols be more powerful if I'm only focusing on the ones for the emotional and abuse issues? Or I guess I'm wondering if they would just be more powerful if I only focused on those.
Oh, I do the same thing, Wanda. I bring in all the symbols. And because when I'm working with animals, you're like it's kind of like you've got to move in their time. So I also will just simply activate them like, okay, Usui Holy Fire, Corona Tree of Life, and just invite them all in, or I think about them. If I can draw some of them, I will. Um, but I do. And then what I notice is the ones that are going to be doing the work, I find myself observing, oh, this symbol came forward, or this symbol is more powerful in this situation, or not more powerful, but this symbol is the one that's doing the work in this situation. So even if I think I'm intending a particular symbol in a moment, I still know that Reiki was guiding that intention. So it's always doing the work. And so let's say, you were activating just one symbol, but there was a different energy that would actually come in and benefit that animal. In my experience, Reiki is going to still bring in that energy that will benefit um, that animal or that person. It doesn't really need us to be specific about direction. I like not directing it. I like activating all the symbols. Um, and so for some of you that are not doing that, it's okay if you're not doing that too. It really is again one of those where you're asking the energy itself and really more than anything, observing it, what it's doing, and which energies come in for that circumstance. Even if you feel like it's coming through your own thoughts, which we call clear intellect, where it's coming through your own thoughts, your intuition feels like you are physically doing it, it's still Reiki doing it. So, really all of the above. Like you could decide one animal, oh, this is just going to focus on this one, the mental emotional symbol. And then another time, all of them come in. So I hope that answers that for
Yes,
you.
yes, it does very much. And I wanted to also ask if you don't mind going to the next step, because I contemplate taking that.
Mhm.
When you mentioned about noticing the energies For me, when I'm doing the Reiki, what I'm feeling more than anything is just a very calming effect. And so I don't know if I'm just not attuned or if I'm blocking the feeling of those energies, because I tend to do that when I'm feeling a lot of distress around something. Taking the next step, would that help me? Because I'm learning that I don't always follow my intuition of what would be best for an animal, meaning someone gave an animal to a person that ended up abusing them all over again. And my inner gut said, no, that, you need to keep this dog, but I let the dog go. So, would the next step help me develop that inner guidance that you're talking about, and also help put me in touch with the feelings of the different symbols around that?
Yes. So, first of all, you can do Reiki the way you're doing it right now, and it is still doing the work, whether you feel confident that you know why it's working and how it's working and the guidance around it. It's still going to be doing the work. And regardless of how well you observe it, doesn't mean you won't always have an outcome like what you just shared. So, it doesn't eliminate that, our guidance isn't always, um, or maybe you are following your guidance and all of that was still meant to happen. What the next step training does to answer this specific question is get you in touch with the way your intuition and guidance works for you. And that is one of the most underdeveloped parts of our human intellect in our culture because we weren't raised with it, and sometimes it even has been actively suppressed in our lifetime. And understanding that, for instance, when I say observe what Reiki is doing, for me it shows up in pictures. Like it's a running picture. However, without understanding what those pictures mean, they're just pictures. They're not, like, I don't always understand what is going on if I don't have that additional understanding of the guidance that goes with it. Robin, for instance, has her intuition works very differently than mine. How she observes what Reiki is doing is different than how I observe it. So the training is taking you through Reiki journeys, like what we just did today in the Invocation Reiki guided journey, teaching you how to discover your way that it's all working for you. So the clair senses, you might see your intuition, you might think your intuition, you might just have a knowing of it, or maybe you smell your intuition. So there's lots of different what we call the clair senses. And we have a whole chart on our website about that you can go look at and see. And you can also Google it. Like clair senses are a very common term to understand about your intuition style. So developing your ability to really understand how it's working for you and your inner truth, your inner authority with it, how you observe how it works, and then your discernment about how you want it to work for you is really the foundation of how the training works. That's on a personal level. For those of you on a professional level, it's going to take you into that ability to then even be able to share that with your clients. Initially, the level one, though, is really to give you a deep foundation of your inner guidance, spiritual communication with spirit guides, your intuition, discovering your inner truth and how it all works for you. and then how you apply it to your daily life. And then for those of you that do work on others, how you apply it to that, your Reiki work for animals or others too. So it's always hard because I feel like I sound like I'm doing sales, but truly we believe in this ability so much, and we see it happening for people regardless of the skill level with it. And it's a matter of, can you develop the skills? And yes, a lot of times, like, people think the way that it works for me is just a born gift. It's actually training and skill. Like, I've learned how it works for me. And that's why the classes are a year long, and the next step class you can take 1 year at a time, but it's actually a 3-year program, and a 4th year if you consider the Explore the 12 Heavens class. Robin, go ahead. She looks like she wants to answer some of that too.
No, I had thought before we were finishing up with that, so I had muted.
Oh, okay.
Well, I won't mute again,
You have another
but
question?
it's fine. We can still talk about this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Wanda, feel free to anybody listening, feel free to get in touch with us about it. Colleen at ReikiLifestyle.com. We can have conversations if you need
And
that.
there is a couple of other questions that we've had related to this, so I'm just going to answer them quickly, but I
Yeah,
do
go
have a
ahead.
question that I want to get to. So one of the questions that we had around this is around next step is, can they take level 2 or 3? And you do have to take them in sequential order. So you have to take level 1. We have anywhere from beginners to Reiki, even like they've taken just Reiki 1 and 2 and are called to that, to experienced people in shamanic practices. But because the training is unique in how we are doing it within this program and using the Reiki energy with that, you do have to take them in sequential order. So you have to start with Reiki, next step Reiki level 1, and then you can take level 2 and level 3. And the other one is that it's actually really nice to be taking them in the same cohort with each other. You get to know each other, you feel safe with each other, get to say the weird things with each other. And when it comes to the woo-woo spiritual aspect of it is what I mean when I say that. And many people are together for 4 years in that training, and you really develop relationships and friendships with each other in those classes, which is a really beautiful part of that as well. And then another question we had around it is people who live in different time zones. They either can't make it to 1 or 2 live classes or the whole thing. We provide really great recordings, and we do have people that do it self-study, or people that just can't make it here or there and catch up on the recordings as well. So both things are true for the course.
Yeah, I'll just add with the cohort, what she means by that is, so every year your class level 1, level 2, level 3 will be at the same time and place every same time and day every year for 4 years. So starting with level 1, going all the way through 3 and 12 heavens. So the same group of people are together for that whole 4 years. Go ahead, Margaret Mary. Or Robin, did you have something else first?
Not really around that. I just wanted to say we did do a podcast with this. You can find more information on the website. We did an in-depth podcast around Next Step in 12 Heavens. However, we also really go into kind of the philosophical, spiritual things around it, as opposed to just this is what you do in module 1, 2, 3, things like that. It's kind of a deeper conversation than that. So if you have any questions on the details, you can always email us.
Go ahead, Margaret Mary.
I can speak to this. I just completed my 4th year with Reiki Next Step, including the 12 Heavens, and I was one of those individuals who only had Reiki 1 and 2. And, going back to Neil Donald Walsh, it rang true for me. Having been introduced to Colleen and Robin by William, invest in yourself at the level you want to be invested in so that you can go and contribute to wellness in the world. And you're worth it. That's what Next Step provides you individually. And then you get to do with it what you are guided to. And it is very much worth it.
Thanks, Margaret Mary.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I have another needing guidance on this question. It's not quite so much of a question as needing guidance on a situation. And I think it's important. It's an important situation for the kind of overarching ideas of things that happen with Reiki. This is going to remain anonymous, but my sibling is, my brother is in a physically and emotionally abusive relationship with an on again, off again girlfriend, and it's causing a lot of problems in his life, most especially aggravating his schizoaffective disorder. Has decided to bring her for Christmas, and asked if I would do a Reiki session on her while they are in town to try to fix the problems. I immediately got a no with my guidance and am not comfortable getting involved in any way. I feel like I know too much about the nature of the relationship to be her practitioner. So, kind of how to handle that, maybe even the question is around what do you even say with the guidance that this person is receiving to the sibling and the girlfriend.
So are you asking me what I would do?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, follow your guidance. And it can be difficult when you have to have boundaries, and stay within the scope of your practice, stay within what is honoring of you as a practitioner. There would be a couple ways that you could do that. I think I would just be honest and say, it's like somebody treating your own family. I'm probably not the best practitioner for her. Let me refer you to some other practitioners, would be that. And I don't know if you share gifts, you could maybe even give somebody a gift certificate for a practitioner and say, I'd really love for you to have Reiki. I think it's a great idea. I just think it's best because we're family to, to work with somebody that is outside of the family, and then maybe have some specific referrals. Again, if it's somebody that you share gifts with at that price point, then you could maybe even give them a gift certificate for it. But first and foremost, follow your gut. Sometimes, it's uncomfortable. Oh, so today in the journey, it was so clear to me how highlighted inner authority was. And I don't know if that was true for everybody, but for me, every time the Reiki energy would come in, it would feel like that inner authority was getting really, I can even feel it in my throat as I'm talking, how that inner authority can really come through and help in these situations. So send Reiki ahead of the conversation, have Reiki engaged during the conversation, And then also really working with Reiki during the actual time that you'll be together, like physically together. And when I say that, what I mean for it is I literally will put that field of Reiki light around me, above me, below me. So it'd be something where, I might draw the symbols in front of me on each space before I even get to the gathering, have Reiki engaged, and then also just maybe know that you may be uncomfortable. It's like, ugh. And ask for support from all of us, like sending you Reiki now. Those are so hard when it's something like that. It's really hard.
And a somewhat political thing to say around it is just being a family member, I'm too close to it. And that is what I've used with it, is that I actually have had a situation where it was not feeling comfortable working on somebody that was in close relation. And I just said, yeah, I just feel like I'm just too close to it to be a non-biased Reiki practitioner. And you may not even say that last part, but that's what I've said. And so I just feel more comfortable referring out to somebody else because they're able to, provide the work a little bit easier with it. So, and Jess, did you have a comment around this?
I can. Because I have just extensive experience with this, but most people who are abusive like this don't actually want to change. So I see it more as this person wants this abusive person to receive Reiki in hopes that it will offer some magical healing or make them not be abusive anymore. But being abusive like that is a choice. A lot of those people just don't have the ability to take accountability and reflect inward to make that change. And so I see this more as the person wanting the other person to change, but that person not wanting to change. If that makes
A
sense.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah.
And, it kind of brings up another point of fixing the problem. Reiki doesn't necessarily fix your problems. And that can be another place where you can explain that Reiki is a complementary modality that is to be used in tandem with therapy, and so that's another thing, that it doesn't necessarily fix the problems. Like, you can't just have a Reiki session and say, okay, all of the trauma that has led me to this place, or maybe any mental illness that has led me to this place is going to fix this. It is to be
And
used in tandem with psychiatry, therapy, maybe even medication, things like that. That is important for those kinds of situations.
and it also crosses their boundary, right? Because you're trying to jump in and fix them. You're trying to fix what you see needs to be fixed in them without them asking for that. So it is just a kind of a way of crossing their boundary. They didn't ask for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a hard it's such a challenging situation, and just lots of love and support and Reiki, because it's so hard to navigate, and it can be so upsetting when it's people that you love or family. And it is, maybe if you want to, and very fair to have boundaries around this. Also, boundaries are love, to yourself and to others, and it's very fair to have boundaries for this. And so just, sending you lots of love around that and Reiki around that, like Colleen was saying, for your own protection. And maybe something that could be offered, if, is actually Reiki for your sibling, and just helping them to stay centered and grounded. And maybe Reiki can, help them to see their worth, so that they can be a little bit, maybe stronger and make different choices as far as the relationship is concerned and things like that. But just even stress reduction, things like that, that can be a part of it, of maybe something that can be offered, but also follow that inner guidance and bring in that Reiki for that strength and that authority and all of those kinds of things that Colleen mentioned.
Those are some of the tough ones, is when you
Yeah.
have relationship boundaries that have to be set and navigating through it. And I think that was one of the big teachings for me when I took Karuna Reiki, and Karuna Reiki really works with compassion. It's compassionate action. And prior to that, now what I know is I had really imbalanced compassion, because I thought I had to just, like, in a case like this, like, oh, I would just do what I can to help or be loving and no matter what. And what I learned about compassion is compassion includes boundaries. Compassion includes sometimes saying the things that need to be said. Sometimes compassion is not having to say the things that need to be said because you don't want to. You don't want to insert yourself in the middle of it. And as Jess was saying, even ending up in the middle of it all is like, you know, uh, you get to have compassion for you in these situations.
Yeah.
So,
And if you need to feel like you can do something, you can certainly send Reiki to the situation. And sometimes that is what is helpful for us to, have that feel like there's something we can do, but you also definitely have to protect yourself. And it doesn't always help getting into the middle of it, I'll tell you that much.
probably never,
Yeah.
or almost never.
Yeah.
I do want to finish up with Tracy's question about dragon energy and Reiki. And Tracy, to be honest with you, I haven't really worked a lot with dragon energy, although interestingly, like, even saying that, I feel like I have that connection, but it isn't one that I've brought to, like, my daily awareness or practice or anything. But I will tell you, in so many of the, oh, Gaz is showing her dragon, so many of the Reiki attunements, ignitions, placements, where people are going deep into their own inner truth, or people are meeting their spirit guides. Dragon is there a lot. The other thing I will tell you is on Mount Kurama in Japan, where Yusui received Reiki, lots of dragon energy, lots of dragon um, parts in the shrines, different dragon, I want to call them statues, but they feel like more than a statue, an honoring of that dragon energy. So it just isn't one I've been really, like, deep dived into what is that energy. But I think if it's there for you, as Robin put in the chat, you can look up some of these things, like through Ted Andrews' books with spirit guides, but also listen for it around you with how does it relate to Reiki and you, and ask the energy and ask the dragon itself.
Yeah, it comes in all the time in animal Reiki. It's
Yeah.
very, very common in animal Reiki. And I'm not sure if dragon is actually in animal speak. That's why I put the link to it in the chat, because there's kind of some updated things on the Facebook page that is ran, the Ted Andrews Facebook page. I'm not sure if dragon's in the book specifically, but it has a lot of, I always know of it as kind of what you would think of with dragon: guardianship, power, strength. But also there's a lot of magic within dragon. And so that's a really beautiful piece of it as well. So just another thing to consider around it. Also, I really liked the movie Raya and the Last Dragon. So maybe you want to watch that as well. It's a Disney movie.
Well, and even as you're talking and I'm kind of listening to the energy, it's taking me into the when in the invocation, when we're going into the tree of life, and the breeze of the four winds is bringing the ancient wisdom, or the wisdom and knowledge of the ancients, and dragons back there saying, me too.
Exactly.
I'm coming through with that wisdom and knowledge of the ancients.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, fun. Well, now you've got me going, Tracy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be listening for dragons. Uh, all right. Well, anything else before we finish up?
No, I think that is pretty good.
All right. That went so fast.
Well, the first hour was definitely
Right?
taken up by a few things.
The invocation was very long.
Mm. We love it. Very needed right now.
Very needed right now.
All
So,
right. Well, thank you so
thank
much,
you,
everybody.
everyone.
Have good holidays. All the holidays that we will be having over this next week to 2 weeks. And we will see you all here in this format in January. So yeah, Colleen, you want to go ahead and open the circle?
And we'll have our distance Reiki share on December 31st, on that Tuesday. So you can always join us there. Those are always free. If you don't know about those are always free, open to everyone. Come and go as it works for you. 9:30 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. Pacific time, in case you're somewhere else and don't know what that means, that is in the same time zone as Los Angeles, Seattle. So, all right, let's go ahead and open the circle. Oh, thank you. So bring your attention in. And again, just go inward and say thank you to you. We say thank you to each other. Thank you to the Reiki energies and all of the heavens and the enlightened ones. And thank you to those teachers who came before us, those ancient ones. Thank you. And thank you to the descendants who come after. We're very honored to be here today, contributing wellness into the world, first in our own lives, our loved ones, our communities, and around the world itself, for the people, the animals, and the earth. Thank you. And so it is. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.